Hello! Monday, August 14th. 2-5 in your ear. Sports Reports is ordered on your screen. Thank you. So first of all, I want to take a second and thank everybody out for their support, all of our new followers and everything. But let's get into it, right? So I was looking at James Harden, talking to some people and talking about Daryl Morey is a liar and he will never, and I mean never, play for another organization that Mr. Morey is a part of. Struck me as funny because James Harden's a spoiled brat, so it's kind of funny that you got a brat calling a liar a liar. I don't know if Daryl Morey lied or not. I do know that this is business. The NBA, as much as it's a sport, as much as it is entertainment, it is a business. I know that they have a relationship that dates back to Houston, where Daryl Morey did everything in his power to bring James Harden teams that could compete for championships. We covered this. He brought in Dwight Howard. He brought in Russell Westbrook. He brought in Chris Paul. They were up 3-2 against the 73-9 Warriors before it all went awry. Chris Paul got hurt. Game 7 came along. James Harden allowed his team to shoot 27 straight threes that were unsuccessful. They lost that series. A lot of y'all made excuses for James Harden, saying they weren't even supposed to beat the Warriors in the first place. I agree, but if you're that close to beating them, just fucking do it. That makes sense? So anyway, so we go back. This happened. Then the next year, we had Kevin Durant get hurt. That was the whole year that the Achilles and all that happened. Houston tied 2-2 with Golden State. And then he lost 2 straight games with no Kevin Durant. So your whole they weren't even supposed to beat the Warriors thing, that goes out the window anyway. So then, he gets frustrated. They bring in Russell Westbrook. They lose in the bubble to the Lakers. Then he gets like pouty, he gets fat. Literally, he went out and got a fat suit or something. I call it the Mrs. Doubtfire suit. He wore that so that he could get out of Houston, forced his way to Brooklyn with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, because I told you everything that you say about Kyrie Irving actually applies to James Harden. But here we are, right? He goes to Brooklyn. Him and Kyrie both get hurt. They lose in 7 games to Milwaukee. Start the next season, Kyrie doesn't get vaccinated, and now Harden wants out. So he ends up in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid, who people say should have won an MVP before this season, but he actually did win the MVP this season. They both choke against Boston. That's how I feel about it. So that happened, and then James Harden is a free agent. So word on the street was he was going to go back to Houston. Ime Udoka said, not on my watch. So he doesn't go to Houston. James Harden opts in with the condition of, all right, well, trade me. But then he says, I only want to go to the Clippers. So Morey was supposed to acquiesce to his demand and send him to L.A., but what L.A. going to send him? What, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, a whole lot of filler, nothing that's really worth it. But then it made me question, why are you trying to leave the MVP? Are you guys not a contender? If you're everything that you say that you are, and he's the reigning, defending MVP, are you not a contender? Now, James Harden opted into the $35.6 million, as I probably would have. He wasn't going to get that from anybody else. And now he becomes a free agent after next season. Unless, because he said that he's never going to play for another team that Morey is a part of, right? This is the problem with that statement. If he decides to hold out, and I got this here from the NBA bylaws, so pardon me for a second. I know it gets a little dry, but I'm going to try to speed through this. A player who withholds playing services called for by a player contract for more than 30 days after the start of the last season, covered by this player contract, shall be deemed not to have completed his contract. Skipping a lot of words to get to the point. Accordingly, such a player shall not be a veteran free agent and shall not be entitled to negotiate or sign a player contract with any other professional basketball team unless and until the team that he last played for agrees otherwise. Long story short, Morey got him by the balls. If he decides to hold out this year and not show up and doesn't play for more than 30 days at a time, then we do this all over again next June. So, time to have a sit down. But the problem with that is it got me to thinking, what does Joel Embiid feel about this? What does the MVP think about this? Because he's on the record as saying that he wants Harden back. I don't know if that can happen. We're not amicable here in the city of brotherly love now, are we? So now is this going to have an effect on how he feels? Because he already came out a few weeks ago saying that I want to win a championship, whether that's in Philadelphia or somewhere else. So what's going on in Philly? Are we going to look up next summer and Philly's going to look like a demolition wrecking ball came through and wiped out the team? I don't know, but I'm just as interested as you are, folks. Let me know your thoughts. Like, subscribe, and review. Out.